It's not much of a weapon, but I'll have to make it work.
In a fantasy land, multiple warriors take part in the grand fighting competition in order to become the strongest man in the world. We are taken straight to the finals, where we meet our hero, the overpowered swordsman, Peter Grill. He takes on a demon warrior in an intense encounter where they trade blows with each other. In the middle of the battle, Peter notices his childhood crush, Princess Lovelia Sanctus, who is cheering him from the sidelines. Our hero becomes inspired upon seeing her, so he unleashes a furious array of attacks upon his opponent in spectacular fashion. The warrior boy uses his sword to full effect and chops off the demon lord's horn, much to everyone's surprise. This allows Peter to use his finisher move, and he finally defeats his opponent. Everyone rises to applaud our hero as he has officially become the strongest man in the world. As expected, Peter is thrilled that he has been able to impress his princess, so he decides to meet her so that they can discuss their marriage. Unfortunately for him, an ogre girl named Mimi Alpacas gets in his way. She seemingly appears to be harmless as she congratulates Peter on his latest achievement. But then, she makes things awkward when she says that she wants him to ravage her. Our hero is confused by this, but Mimi states that she wants to bear his child, as she knows he will be just as strong as Peter. The unwilling playboy hopes for some relief when Mimi's older sister Lisa arrives to the scene. But to his dismay, she is even more keen on letting him have his way with her. It doesn't take long for the sisters to gang up on Peter, so he makes a swift escape by creating a distraction. Now that he's free from the girls, our hero makes his way to Lovelia, who is inside a church. The couple shares a romantic moment, and Lovelia states that she wishes to bear Peter's child, but she appears to be very innocent as she isn't aware of the physical acts necessary to have a baby. Frustrated by his lover, Peter goes home so that he can relax, but is met once again by the ogre sisters. A hilarious sequence follows as Peter tries to get rid of them, but his manly instincts take over and he allows the girls to do whatever they want with him. As expected, our hero immediately regrets his decision the next morning, and it gets even worse when he hears Lovelia at the door. Peter gets rid of the girls by hiding them in his closet, and he makes up an excuse to explain why he's not wearing any clothes. The princess buys into his deception, and then she takes him to her dad, Albatross, so that they can discuss the wedding. However, Albatross seems to hate Peter as he believes that he is deceiving his innocent daughter for his wicked intentions. Luckily, Lovelia shuts him down and convinces the king to organize a party to celebrate their union. Later, the couple tries to get a little romantic, but Peter can't forgive himself for cheating on his princess with the ogre girls. It only gets worse when Lisa and Mimi come to visit him at the party and demand for another pleasurable time together. Peter tries to shoo them away, but the ogre girls force him to please them as they threaten to expose his secret to Lovelia if he declines. Our hero gives into his temptation, but he hears Lovelia approaching, so he acts fast and shoves the girls underneath his table. His life is made difficult when Albatross arrives and orders him to get up from his seat, with the girl still teasing him under the table. Luckily, Peter stands his ground and Lovelia takes his side, so the angry king throws a fit and walks away. Lovelia goes after him, so the girls can finally do their thing with their boy toy. Once again, Peter lets them violate him, and he curses himself the next morning for not having any self-control. Little does he know that there's an elf girl named Vegan Edoriel who also has some dirty intentions for him. In a dream sequence, Peter and Lovelia decide to have a baby together, but Albatross shows up to spoil the party. Our hero wakes up from his nightmare, but finds Vegan next to him, and this leads to an argument with the elf girl. Peter's buddy Tim Robinson catches him in the act, but decides to leave the lovers alone, while also promising to keep it a secret. After some discussion, Vegan reveals that she wants Peter's seed so that she can give birth to an overpowered elf warrior who will save her clan from being extinct. However, Peter doesn't buy into her story and says that she's not as attractive as Lisa or Mimi. This makes Vegan very insecure and jealous, so she casts a spell on Peter, saying that his manhood will eventually betray him if he doesn't allow her to ravage him. Peter treats this threat very casually and decides to carry on with his day. Meanwhile, Lovelia visits the forest with some knights, but they are suddenly confronted by a giant worm goblin. Lovelia tries to fight the beast, but it's of no use as the monster overpowers her knights. News of this attack reaches Peter, so he sets off in a hurry to rescue his princess. After her soldiers are killed off, Lovelia is told to run away, but she refuses to do so and continues her attack. However, the worm goblin captures her and is about to get creepy, so the princess calls for help. Luckily for her, Peter reaches the scene and is able to rescue his lover just before the monster can violate her. Our hero is upset to see his mistress in distress, so he unleashes all his powers and fiercely cuts through the worm goblin with his overpowered sword. He kills the beast with relative ease and is congratulated for his achievement. However, Lisa and Mimi watch from the background and get even more excited when they see how powerful their Romeo is. After sharing an emotional moment with Lovelia, the stud boy goes to take a refreshing bath, but all of a sudden, he feels something weird in his private region. That's when Vegan shows herself and reveals that her curse is finally working. Realizing that he might lose his manliness before getting with Lovelia, Peter pleads with Vegan to lift the curse, but she is only willing to play along if he does to her what he's been doing to the ogre sisters. In a hilarious turn of events, we see that Lovelia is also present in the neighboring bath, and she invites her lover boy so that they can get freaky. This is practically a dream come true for Peter, but Vegan reminds him of the curse, so he has to tread carefully. It's no surprise that our hero has to turn down his princess, and then he does unspeakable things with Vegan, after which she happily breaks the curse. Later, King Albatross grows worried as he fears that Peter is going to take his beloved daughter away from him. He thinks of some options to get rid of his nemesis, and then he comes up with the idea to invite Peter into a marriage proposal. The evil king summons our hero and says that he has high demand due to his recent conquests. This has led the king of Orkland, Mr. Babe, to offer his daughter Piglet to Peter. The playboy tries to use Lovelia to counter the offer, but she believes in her hunky warrior and sends him off with Albatross to meet Mr. Babe. Peter prays to God that Piglet is an ugly woman, but as expected, she is amazingly cute, and he can't take his eyes off her body. Now, Albatross and Mr. Babe leave the couple alone, hoping that Peter gives into his carnal desires. However, Piglet seems to be an innocent woman and acts insecure around him. The couple takes a stroll around town, but then the evil kings send their goons after Piglet, so that Peter can defeat them and become her knight in shining armor. The plan goes smoothly as Peter takes care of the goons with minimum effort and drives Piglet crazy when he calls her cute. Luckily, her Romeo manages to avoid any dirty relations and even confronts Albatross for trying to make him cheat on Lovelia. However, he is told to stay the night with Piglet, who has been made to consume an aphrodisiac. The voluptuous princess is unable to control her desires and jumps at Peter, while the evil king celebrates his success outside. Our hero tries his best to stop Piglet, but her hormones are way too strong, and it leads to an awkward conversation. This prompts the unwilling playboy to reassure Piglet that she is indeed a very attractive woman, but then she overpowers him with her body and our hero ravages her much to her dismay. The next morning, Peter curses himself again as he was unable to resist the temptation of another woman. He realizes that Albatross is going to use this against him, so he convinces Piglet not to mention their little fling to her father. Piglet luckily rescues Peter by saying that they didn't do anything suspicious with each other. Unfortunately, our hero celebrates too early as the princess states that she wishes to serve under him as his slave because she feels drawn to him. The kings are confused by this, but Albatross allows it, hoping that Peter will falter later on. After that, even Piglet tells her boy toy that she wishes to bear his child. The lovers come back to the inn, where they find the rest of Peter's harem waiting for them. Of course, the mistresses are upset to see that their playboy has brought another girl with him, but Piglet reassures them that she is happy to serve as a slave along with the others. Lisa doesn't like the sound of this, so she summons her Cupid toy, Agape, and orders him to assess which of the girls excite Peter the most. Vegan is no match for the ogre sisters, and it leads to a hilarious fight amongst them. Our hero notices Tim and asks him for some help, but he only makes things worse by getting the girls drunk and excited. It doesn't take long for the entire harem to gang up on Peter, and he barely puts up a fight as he is violated by all of them. In the morning, we learned that the stud boy got so excited that his senses actually killed Agape. Now the girls decide to draft a contract wherein they allot specific time slots for Peter to satisfy each one of them. It leads to a hilarious sequence where Peter keeps objecting to the terms, but he is ignored by his harem, and then the contract is finally approved. What follows is an arduous time for our hero, as he has to keep up with his harem and ends up becoming their slave. Luckily, he gets a day of rest and uses it to go on a date with Lovelia. Everything seems to be fine, as the couple enjoy a romantic dinner together. But then Mimi arrives to the scene and Peter starts to panic. He tries to send the ogre girl away, but she turns it around on him and blackmails her boy toy into pleasing her. Otherwise, she will spill the beans to Lovelia. Our hero agrees to the quickie and hopes that he can reunite with his princess, but then Lisa and Vegan do the same thing and have their way with him. During their intense sessions, Lovelia keeps drinking wine and starts to fantasize about her stud boy, as she thinks back to the time when he had saved her life by battling an overpowered opponent. The princess decides to leave and her fiancé tries to follow her, but he is taken away by his harem as if he is being eaten by a monster. Peter isn't able to deal with the situation as his manhood is tested beyond the extreme. He hopes for some relief in Piglet, who offers to massage him, but even they violate each other, and then the rest of the harem shows up. The following confusion only leads to another group session, after which Peter runs away from his evil mistresses. As our hero laments the current state of his life, he meets an overpowered ogre soldier named Antonios Spartacus. The warrior offers him comfort and listens to Peter's tragic story, after which he reveals that he is also visiting this kingdom, hoping to be reunited with the woman of his dreams. Peter feels a little better after talking to Spartacus, but in a shocking twist, he learns that the ogre's fantasy girl is actually Lisa, who also happens to be a princess. The playboy confronts Lisa and demands to know the truth, so she admits that she is the heir to the ogre's 10th throne. The drama doesn't end there for Peter as Lisa proceeds to seduce him. Now we see a girl named Michi at the Warriors Guild, and she becomes fascinated by Spartacus when he comes looking for Lisa. That's when the ogre warrior meets Mimi, who takes him to Peter's inn so that he can finally be reunited with the woman of his dreams. Unfortunately for Spartacus, he walks in on Lisa doing the nasty with Peter, and it prompts him to destroy the room in a fit of rage. Now Spartacus savagely attacks our hero with his giant sword, while he has nothing to defend himself with. Peter eventually picks up a banana and faces off against his opponent in a hilarious fashion. They get into an intense encounter, but Peter is unable to use his skills well enough to defend himself with a banana. However, his weapon starts to lose its shape, but Peter is put into a corner. So Lisa commands Spartacus not to attack her boy toy anymore. Then Peter chats with Mimi and learns that Spartacus has a crush on Lisa, as she's been his fantasy girl ever since they were children. Now Spartacus begs Lisa to come back to Ogrestan as her soldiers need her, but she rejects him and says that she will only return if she becomes pregnant with Peter's baby. Spartacus cannot take the humiliation any longer, so he challenges Peter to a duel, hoping to win Lisa as the prize. The opponents prepare to face off against each other, and then it suddenly strikes Peter that he can get rid of Lisa if he deliberately loses the battle. Unfortunately, the Ogre Queen has already anticipated this, so she sends Mimi to Lovelia and tells Peter that he shouldn't hold back, otherwise his princess will learn all the unspeakable things he's been doing with his harem. Now the battle begins, and Spartacus wows the audience by unleashing an epic Gigan-style double tomahawk to boost his body for battle. Everyone starts to clap for Spartacus as he unleashes all his powers and charges at Peter, but our hero hilariously defeats his enemy with just one punch. Spartacus begs for another chance, so Lisa takes him on and defeats him easily as well. With no other option, the ogre warrior asks Peter to train him for his next battle with Lisa, and our hero reluctantly agrees as he feels sorry for the innocent soldier. Vegan and Piglet join in as they train Spartacus in an intense sequence of events. The fruit of their labor is eventually shown when Spartacus transforms into an overpowered demon warrior. During this process, he also grows closer to Michi as they flirt with each other. The day of the duel arrives and Spartacus faces off against Lisa in an intense encounter. Then, he seems to do quite well at first, as he takes on his opponent with great strength. However, Lisa unleashes her true weapon, which is her body, and she uses it to distract the innocent soldier. As expected, she wins the fight with a finisher move, and Peter curses his luck. After that, Michi comes to console Spartacus, and our hero realizes that the ogre warrior will be able to resist Lisa's charms if he gets with his new girlfriend. Spartacus tries to resist Peter's offer, but then Michi seduces him, and the soldier finally loses his innocence. Peter gains hope as he urges his student to fight Lisa once more, but it turns out that Spartacus has fallen in love with Michi now, so he refuses the duel. Peter feels that he has been cursed by his mistresses, but then Luvilia arrives to take him along with her as they fight a goblin invasion. The harem doesn't want to lose their boy toy, so they also follow the couple. And that's the end of Season 1. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see Season 2 when it comes out. Hit the bell icon for notifications. I'll see you soon.